There is a kind of pain that does not come to destroy you. It comes to awaken you. What if the secret to lasting happiness is not found in avoiding sorrow, but in having the courage to step into it? What if the very loss you fear most is actually the doorway to a deeper, truer joy, one that no longer depends on circumstances? We live in a world that teaches people to be strong quickly, to recover quickly, to smile quickly. People say, be positive, stay busy, stop thinking about it, move on. But there are pains that do not disappear just because we try to ignore them. There are losses that cannot be healed through distraction, and there are wounds that only begin to transform when we stop resisting them. Most people are not truly afraid of sadness. What they fear is the helplessness of sitting still with it. They fear the emptiness. They fear the silence. They fear that naked feeling of having nothing left to hold on to. So they fill every empty space with noise, with work, with habits, with screens, with conversations that never touch anything real. They keep themselves busy, so they do not have to hear the sound of their own heart breaking. But the more they run, the more the pain remains. It only sinks deeper. It lies there quietly in the body, in the breath, in sleepless nights, in empty eyes, in the feeling of no longer being able to touch joy, even when there is still so much beauty all around. When you suppress grief, you are not only suppressing one emotion, you are numbing your entire capacity to feel. You cannot choose to close the door only to suffering while leaving open the door to peace, love, gratitude, and aliveness. The heart does not work that way. Once you harden one part of yourself, so you do not have to hurt, you also dim the part of you that can still be moved by the beauty of life. That is why so many people no longer cry, but no longer truly feel joy either. They exist. They function. They fulfill their responsibilities every day. But deep inside, they no longer feel alive. We are living in an age of toxic positivity, where people are pressured to appear fine, even when they are falling apart inside. People learn to say, "I'm fine," like a reflex. They learn to wear a carefully practiced expression of calm, but false calmness never brings liberation. It only exhausts the soul. There is a deep fatigue that does not come from work or responsibility, but from pretending your pain does not exist. There is a great burden that comes not only from what you have lost, but from the effort of hiding your loss from everyone around you. Perhaps it is time to stop seeing your pain as a sign of weakness. Perhaps it is time to see it as proof that your heart is still alive. You hurt because you once loved. You hurt because it mattered. You hurt because something in your life truly touched the deepest part of your soul. And because of that, your pain is not wrong. It is not your failure. It is the trace of a deep connection between one human being and another, between a person and life itself, between the heart and the most sacred things it has ever touched. Grief is not an illness that needs to be cured completely. The pain of loss is not something that must be removed immediately. Very often, it is simply the silent shadow of love. The deeper the love, the longer the shadow. The more genuine the bond, the more visible the emptiness left behind. And instead of seeing that emptiness as something frightening, perhaps we can learn to look at it differently. Not as a hole that must be filled, but as a sacred space once shaped by the presence of something deeply precious. Maybe you have lost a loved one. Maybe you have lost a relationship. Maybe you have let go of a dream you once believed was your whole life. Maybe what you lost was not another person, but an old version of yourself. Whatever it is, the feeling carries something in common, an emptiness appearing in the chest, as though part of the world has quietly vanished. And the mind's first reaction is to fix it immediately, fill it immediately, understand it immediately. But some pains do not come to be fixed. They come to be witnessed. They come to be held in the tenderness of true presence. Try pausing for a moment. There is no need to analyze too much. No need to label too much. Just feel. Where is that emptiness in your body? In the center of your chest? In your throat? In your stomach? In your shoulders? Does it feel heavy or hollow? Cold or hot? Tight or aching? We often live so much in thought that we forget loss is not only a story in the mind, it is a living sensation in the body. And only when we return to the body, to the breath, to real presence, does the door of transformation begin to open. This is where presence becomes sacred. Not presence as a beautiful idea, but presence that is radical, naked, silent when you sit down with your pain and do not try to make it into something else. You do not demand that it disappear. You do not bargain with it. You do not cover it with positive phrases. You simply breathe, slow, gentle, deep. You breathe directly into the center of that emptiness, as if lighting a lamp in a room long kept closed. Each breath can become an act of compassion. Breathing in, you acknowledge, yes, this pain is here. Breathing out, you tell yourself, I do not need to run anymore. Breathing in, you touch the truth. Breathing out, you release a little resistance. So much suffering does not come only from loss, but from our long struggle against the truth that loss has happened. We suffer once because life is impermanent, and then we make ourselves suffer many times more because we cannot accept impermanence. From the view of deep wisdom, impermanence is not a tragic sentence. Impermanence is the nature of all life. Everything changes. Everything comes and goes. Every form is fragile. Every moment cannot be held, and that is exactly why life has depth. That is why love becomes precious. That is why presence becomes miraculous. If everything lasted forever, we would never truly see the value of a glance, a hand to hold, an ordinary meal, a quiet afternoon, a full breath. When you sit still with pain without resisting it, something very strange begins to happen. The nervous system, which has been in panic, slowly receives the signal that it no longer has to fight. The body stops bracing. The breath becomes less broken. Beneath the waves of emotion, a very deep lake begins to reveal itself. You discover that pain may be immense, but it is not greater than your capacity to be present. You discover that you can hurt and still breathe, remember and still live, lose and still keep the dignity of a soul that knows how to love. And that is where the alchemy of pain begins. The pain does not vanish right away, but it changes its nature. It is no longer only a weight dragging you down. It becomes a refining fire. It burns away the illusion that you can control everything. It burns away the unconscious postponement in the way you live. It burns away the shallowness of moving through life without truly seeing it. And after that fire, something purer appears. A new softness, a new depth, a new honesty. You begin to appreciate things once dismissed as too ordinary. Sunlight on the wall. Birds in the morning. A warm cup of water. A brief phone call. Someone still sitting beside you. A peaceful day with nothing special about it. These things are no longer small. They begin to glow. Many people who have passed through deep loss begin to see life with different eyes, not because they are luckier, but because they have been awakened. They know everything is fragile. They know nothing is guaranteed. They know what is here today may be gone tomorrow. And that awareness makes them love more truly, listen more deeply, live more honestly. Loss, though painful, can sometimes become a harsh but magnificent teacher. It pulls us out of the sleep of indifference. It forces us to face the question we once avoided: if everything is impermanent, then how shall we live in a way worthy of this moment? So much anxiety in life comes from wanting to hold tightly to what cannot be held. We want people not to change. We want love not to fade. We want youth to remain. We want beautiful things never to end. But the more we try to control what cannot be controlled, the more exhausted we become. Accepting the fragility of life does not make you pessimistic. On the contrary, it frees you from the constant fear of having to keep everything intact. When you truly understand that life is a flow, you stop demanding that it stand still so you can feel safe. You learn how to stand firm in the midst of movement. You learn how to love without clinging. You learn how to cherish without possessing. You learn how to be present without illusion. And then a new kind of joy begins to grow. It is not a loud joy, not a fleeting excitement, not a brief victory that depends on outer circumstances. This is a quiet joy, deep, soft, steady. It does not appear because life suddenly becomes perfect. It appears because you are no longer resisting life as it is. It is born when the heart stops demanding that reality be different before it allows itself peace. It is the joy of one who has passed through darkness without losing the ability to see light. The joy of one who understands that because everything will pass, every remaining moment deserves to be lived fully. That joy does not deny tears. It is not opposed to sadness. It grows right inside the sorrow that has been held in the right way. Just as a lotus does not bloom despite the mud, but because of it, the deepest peace sometimes does not come after pain disappears, but when we stop dividing ourselves away from pain. We no longer say, "This part of me is good, that part is bad." We no longer reject our broken pieces. We begin to understand that what makes us more compassionate, more mature, more spacious, is often the very season we once thought we could never survive. Perhaps you once believed that healing meant becoming who you were before the loss. But the truth is, there are some doors that once you walk through them, you will never return unchanged. And that is not necessarily a tragedy. Because perhaps the old version of you never knew how to live as deeply as the one now being formed from these ashes. Perhaps loss does not only take away. Perhaps it also gives back. It gives back eyes that know how to see. It gives back a heart that knows how to tremble. It gives back the ability to feel the sacred in small things. It gives back a simple but powerful truth: to be alive, to love, to breathe in this moment is already a miracle. If today you are still carrying a sadness within you, please do not rush to treat it like a mistake that needs fixing. Please do not force yourself to be okay before you are truly ready. Please do not be ashamed that your heart still hurts. Perhaps what feels so heavy inside you is not a burden meant to pull you under. Perhaps it is a key opening a door you have never dared to walk through, the door of presence, the door of compassion, the door of a joy that is no longer as fragile as before because it is no longer built on the illusion that life must always be easy. Give yourself permission to pause. Sit down with your pain as you would sit beside a friend who is crying. Do not force it to be quiet. Do not preach to it. Do not tell it to be stronger. Just be there. Just breathe. Just listen. And then you will see, beneath sadness is love. Beneath panic is a deeply human tenderness. Beneath emptiness is a vast inner space where you can meet yourself again in a way more honest than ever before. Loss teaches us that nothing remains forever. But for that very reason, it also teaches us to bow before the beauty of what is still here. It teaches us to stop living as though we have endless time to postpone love. It teaches us to speak kind words sooner, to hold one another longer, to listen more completely, to live more slowly, to live more truthfully, to live like someone who understands that every moment of being here is a gift with no guarantee. And at some point you will realize the most paradoxical truth of all. By opening the door into pain, you have also opened the door into life. By no longer running from loss, you begin to touch a joy that cannot be taken away by outer change. By accepting impermanence, you do not become colder, but more gentle with life. You stop demanding that life remain unchanged so you can feel safe. You learn how to rest in the midst of change, and there, a very deep peace begins to appear. Not the peace of someone who has never hurt, but the peace of someone who has walked through pain and is no longer afraid to open their heart to life. Not the joy of someone who always gets what they want, but the joy of someone who understands that even in the midst of loss, the heart can still bloom. That is the alchemy of pain, to turn heaviness into clarity, to turn loss into presence, to turn cracks into the place where light enters. to turn sorrow into a sacred doorway leading to the truest version of yourself. Because sometimes the deepest gift hidden within suffering is not that it leaves, but that as it passes through you, it leaves behind a human being who is deeper, gentler, and freer. A human being who finally understands that to live fully does not mean to live without losing anything. It means to dare to love, to dare to lose, to dare to hurt, and still keep your heart open to each moment that is here. And perhaps that is what true, undying joy really is. And in the end, what remains after loss is not only emptiness, it is awakening. An awakening to the truth that nothing can be held forever. Not a single person, not a single emotion, not a single season of life. And yet, it is precisely because everything is impermanent that each present moment becomes so precious. Perhaps you came to this video because of pain. Perhaps you stayed because somewhere deep in your heart you realize that you do not only want the pain to end, you want to understand, to let go, to live differently. And if that is true, then perhaps this is not the end of a video. Perhaps it is the beginning of a new journey, a journey of learning to slow down, to listen more deeply, to love with greater awareness, and to discover peace not by escaping life, but by opening yourself to it. If these words touched your heart, leave a comment below. I choose peace. That is not just a sentence. It may be a very gentle vow you offer to yourself from this day forward. And if you would like to keep nurturing stillness, wisdom, and healing within your soul, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the next videos. Because we will meet here again, in words of deep wisdom, in moments of silence, and in the journey of returning to yourself. Thank you for listening. May your heart, even if it has known pain, always find its way to bloom again. I will see you in the next video.